The hour has arrived. Good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to remind everyone to please make sure that all cell phones are turned on the off or vibrate position, and also please be advised that our city council meetings are broadcast on Comcast Channel 99, AT&T Uverse, the City of Gadsden YouTube channel, and WMGJ Radio. This meeting of the Gadsden City Council will now come to order. The chair will call on City Clerk Alvin Nelson for the roll call.
Councilwoman Toles.
Here.
Councilman Williams.
Here.
Worthy.
Here.
Back.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
Cannon.
Here.
And Reed.
Here.
We have a quorum present and our meeting is open for business. I'm going to ask Shane Ellison to lead the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Father, we are thankful for the beautiful weather, first and foremost, that you have given us this week, and just thankful for the opportunities presented here in Gadsden, for the opportunity to serve our great city, and for all those that are here in attendance today. Lord, we ask that you lead us and guide us in all the decisions that we make, and the council here today. And just give thanks for this time together. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the Community Development Committee work session council meeting that was held on March 26.
So move. Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to approve minutes.
The chair will entertain a motion to ratify payments of accounts for the week of March the 22nd through the 28th.
So move. Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to ratify payment of the accounts.
Proclamation.
I have two here. Are all of y'all together, Ms. Falcon? I'm sorry, what? Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. I think they both read the same is what I was going by. Okay. You want to come up? I think they're both reading the same. I think it looks like they do when you Whereas preventing child abuse and neglect is a community problem that depends on involvement among young people throughout the community. Child maltreatment occurs when people find themselves in stressful situations without community resources and don't know how to cope. For the majority of child abuse cases stem from situations and conditions that are preventable in an engaged and supportive community. Child abuse and neglect can be reduced by making sure each family member has the support they need to raise their children in a healthy environment. Child abuse and neglect not only directly harm children, but also increases the likelihood of criminal behavior, substance abuse, health problems such as heart disease and obesity, and risky behavior such as smoking. All citizens should become involved in supporting families in raising their children in a safe, nurturing environment. Effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of partnerships created amongst social service agencies, schools, faith communities, and civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. Therefore, I, Sherman Guyton, Mayor of the City of Gadsden, on behalf of the Department of Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention, the Children's Trust Fund, and Prevent Child Abuse Alabama, hereby proclaim April 2019 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in the city of Gadsden, and ask all citizens, community agencies, faith groups, medical facilities, and businesses to increase their participation in our efforts to support families, thereby preventing child abuse and strengthening the communities in which we live. All right.
All right, thank you. Can y'all get when y'all get a picture?
You want to talk? Either one?
A little bit.
Go ahead.
As always, it's an honor to be here from the Family Success Center. We're one of the ones that receive a Children's Trust Fund, and we're glad to be part of the community that works together. Our specific program that gets the Children's Trust Fund is called Safe and Successful. It's a school-based program that helps our schools meet the requirements of Aaron's Law. In 2015, the state passed Aaron's Law, which said that every child in a public school must get age-appropriate education about physical and sexual abuse so that they know what constitutes abuse and what to do if it's happening to them or someone that they know. And so by the Children's Trust Fund giving us this money, we're able to send Dina Thacker into the school systems to help the teachers do that because they already have so much other to do. So we're glad to be able to do that. During the last school year that ended last May, she saw more than 9,000 students in the 3 school systems here in Etowah County. As of the end of March, she had already seen more than 7,100 this year. And so we believe we're making a difference. Unfortunately, as we have more people report, I'm hoping it's not because there's more child abuse, but because more of them know what to do if it's happening to them. I feel like all the services that we have at Family Success help reduce child abuse and neglect, because if we strengthen families, families are the solid core to our community, then we have less child abuse and neglect. So I appreciate your support. The blue ribbons are yours to take and display in response to Child Abuse Prevention Month, and want you to know that we are partnering with the Gadsden Mall to do a scavenger hunt where they can find out facts and tidbits and earn a prize for doing that. And so by this Friday, that will be up at the mall, so stop by there and take a look at what we're trying to do to educate the public. Thank you. I think ours reads different.
Do you want to redo, or you want me to? Oh.
I can't read these big words like mayonnaise. Whereas preventing child abuse depends upon community-oriented programs and services that involve the collaboration of professionals to prevent further victimization of children. Child physical and sexual abuse continues to occur when community members are unaware how to appropriately report child abuse and neglect. There is no facial, social, economic class that is immune to child abuse and sexual abuse. Child abuse not only directly harms children, but it also affects the entire family system. Free specialized services are provided to the community, including forensic interviews, counseling, forensic evaluations, information and materials and referrals, community awareness and education, as well as support and advocacy for the victims of child abuse. The James M. Berry Center for Children plays a critical role in the lives of children who are victims of physical abuse and/or sexual abuse or witnesses to a violent crime. The James M. Berry Center for Children assists children in feeling comfortable by providing a safe home-like environment for them to provide information about their abuse. The James M. Berry Center of Children also works collaboratively with the law enforcement jurisdictions and Department of Human Resources and the District Attorney's Office to provide a multidisciplinary response to investigators and intervention of child physical and sexual abuse. Therefore, I, Sherman Guyton, the Mayor of the City of Gadsden, on behalf of the Alabama Network of Children's Advocacy Centers, hereby proclaim April the 8th through 12, 2019, the James M. Berry Center for Children's Week, and call on all our citizens to community agencies, faith groups, medical facilities, and businesses to increase participation in our efforts to protect children and support the intervention efforts provided by the James M. Berry Center for Children. Here you go. I'll give you this in a minute.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm Patricia Falcon. I'm the Executive Director for the James Berry Center for Children. I'm happy to introduce to you as well. I have Betty Wetzel here, over here, who is our therapist at the Berry Center and does an amazing job with our children, as well as our board member, Dr. Martha Lavender, the president of Gadsden State. So thank you for the opportunity to highlight child abuse prevention and intervention. It's an opportunity for us to share with you the work that we do at the Berry Center. We're one of about 35 children's advocacy centers across the state of Alabama, and they actually originated here in Alabama. And we're very grateful for that opportunity to have started children's advocacy centers, CACs we call them, in the state of Alabama. This year marks a year for us where we've seen the largest increase, about 29% increase in the number of children that we serve. We do work comprehensively as a team with the District Attorney's Office and all of our law enforcement jurisdictions. Of course, certainly the police chief in the city of Gadsden, as Gadsden has the highest number of children that we provide interviews for, and you'll see that in our annual report that we've included for you at 37%. We've provided information for you as well to let you know that our mission is one that is so critical as we look to children, to serve children and to serve families. This year we have made a very strategic effort through the service of our board of directors in moving to a larger facility. Y'all probably all know that and have seen that on 4th Street as we moved into the United Way, the old United Way building. And so we're very grateful for that because it's given us an opportunity to really expand our services. We offer more therapy than we ever have before, and we also are able to provide group therapy. We've had groups for our boys, for our girls, for teens, and for our parents this last year, as well as training information. We're available to do forensic interviews that are very specialized, and that gives an opportunity for a child to come tell their history, their trauma, one time, hopefully. Certainly, children make an outcry to someone. It may be someone in the school, and we're so grateful to Tammy and the work of Family Success Center because those children, when they do make that outcry, then come into the Berry Center for a specialized forensic interview. We're there and available to provide trauma-focused counseling that's free to them when they have made a disclosure of abuse. I actually have 2 other staff members that are not here this morning because we did have an emergency situation that arose right before we were coming over here this morning, and a situation that actually occurred in the city of Gadsden. And so we want to make sure that we're there ultimately 24/7 to provide that specialized interview for a child. You will see in our information the number of children that we've served, but I can tell you that 1 out of every 10 children nationally, the statistic is 1 out of every 10 children will be sexually assaulted in some way before their 18th birthday. We have to do a good job. We've got to do a great job in making sure that children have a place to come to talk about the things that have happened to them, and someone that will believe them and someone that will work with them to help them through the process. Once we start that interview and offer them counseling, they're then able to continue to work with that family and that child throughout the court process until those cases go on to be prosecuted in court here. I do want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you might have about the Berry Center. We've included our information about our funding. We're certainly very grateful as we do receive some of the CDBG funds from the city of Gadsden, and we're grateful, I hope you know that, for that funding, and would invite you at any time to come and see the good work that we do at the Berry Center and how children are interviewed in a specialized way. If you're not familiar, all of those team members that I mentioned, our law enforcement, our DHR investigation staff, the DA, we've worked with the FBI and Homeland Security. They all are in one room watching the interview in real time so that child's not intimidated by the fact that they've got to tell their story to maybe 6 or 7 different people. They sit in one room, and across the hall is our interview room, and we use a two-way camera system and record that interview on a DVD, and that DVD is used as part of evidence. Ultimately, that interview is just the beginning of the process, and certainly our Gadsden law enforcement officers then begin to work that case, and they're out there talking to all of the different folks that are involved, as well as the alleged offender. And then we will continue to follow that on through the process until it's prosecuted. So I do want to give you an opportunity, if you have any questions about the Berry Center and the work that we do. We also do specialized training. We're available to go to churches and talk with them about what they can do to protect their church. We do trainings for the YMCA, for the Boys and Girls Club, different agencies in town that daycares that offer services to children to make sure that they know that they are mandatory reporters. This year, we're very excited to be continuing our efforts at Gadsden State to train their nurses and their nursing program so that they know signs and symptoms to look for related to child abuse, as well as DHR and Gadsden Regional Hospital and some other organizations. The other thing, I'm not sure if Mayor Guyton knows, but we've partnered up this year with the City of Gadsden Fire Department, and we're thrilled to be able to go and talk with them about child abuse, and as they're going into homes, and seeing all sorts of things, how do they make those reports? What kinds of things they might need to look for. So it's just an additional way of strengthening the City of Gadsden and the services that you offer as well through the fire department. So we're thrilled about that, and that'll be coming up in June. Does anybody have any questions?
You all follow up with children that you see as far as if there's been any healing or?
We do. So we have 2 therapists, and they continue to work with that child and that family. Once a child's finished the process in therapy, developmentally over the course of time, they often will maybe even need to come back as a child develops and grows and different kinds of scenarios come up. Once a child's been to an advocacy center, they can return to that advocacy center for therapy, as well as we have children that have been interviewed at other CACs across the country, maybe have moved into the City of Gadsden, or even into the county, anywhere in the county. We serve all children in the county, but they've moved into our area and then need therapy, and they too can also come to the Berry Center for therapy. We coordinate investigations as well across the country sometimes. We've had numerous situations where that's occurred as well. And so, yes, once they, have been to the Berry Center, they can always return.
And one last question.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
know you talked about physical and sexual abuse, but child abuse can go deeper than physical and sexual abuse. And I think a
Absolutely.
lot of people don't realize that it can also be mental.
Yes,
as well.
absolutely. The other thing that we're seeing is the impact of exploitation for children, certainly the impact of pornography. You may know this already, but the pornography industry makes 4 times the amount of money that our 4 major sports leagues combined. And so we see that in the work that we do, that impact of more violent crimes against children, and also the influence of pornography and seeing children, a lot of photos are taken and things like that. So certainly, that has had an impact nationwide. But you're absolutely right about emotional abuse and the impact that has.
Thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
I just want to say that I'm glad we have these resources. A good while back, we didn't have the resources we do now. And I hear things from time to time. My wife is a guidance counselor, in an alternative school. I've said that before, but now they're seeing where the kids come to school, I mean, even elementary, with porno-type things on their phones, you know, that they're sending around about each other and all that. And thank you for all the work y'all do. And, you know, if you ever need anything, I'm sure the council and myself will be glad to try to help either group at any time. Thank you.
Unfinished business, we have none today. This is the time and place as advertised to conduct a public hearing allowing anyone to speak in opposition to or in favor of a resolution or an abatement of a nuisance on property located at 109 Pioneer Street in District 1. Lonnie Johnson, State of Alabama, and possible right of redemptions of the estate of Melvin Woods being the last known owner. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? If you'll come to the podium and give your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Lonnie Johnson, and I live at 901 Rosewood Lane, Gadsden, Alabama. I got that 109 Pioneer on delinquent taxes, and I hadn't had a chance to really work on it like I wanted because I've been out of work ever since November for surgery. So as soon as I get back able to work and get back started, I will have some work done on it. We working on it, but not fast.
Okay. What kind of time are you looking at? But because I want to hear from our building.
Well, I've been in 36 weeks, so third. And I was supposed to go back to the doctor Friday, so I don't know if he'll release me then or not.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you.
All right.
Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor?
Madam President, I'm Brian Harbison with the Building Department. We filed our case on May the 2nd of 2018. There was a building permit taken out May the 14th of 2018. There have been no improvements to the property. And our recommendation today is the council pass a resolution to abate the nuisance. Thank you.
I just put a door over there.
Ms. Williams, looking at the pictures, but what I'll do is I'll give you 30 days. And if nothing is done in 30 days, then I will recommend what the building, and you need to get with Mr. Harbison also to find out all the things that's needed, because, you know, no matter what, once it comes up again, I will abate it. I move that we table this for 30 days.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to table the resolution for 30 days, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to table for 30 days.
Our next public hearing is a resolution on abatement of nuisance on property located at 1414 Walnut Street in District 5. This is the State of Alabama redemption right of James Lee Moody and wife Mary Lee Moody, or heirs if deceased being the last known owners. Is there anyone to speak in opposition to this resolution? Is there anyone to speak in favor?
Madam President, we filed our case in September of 2018. There have been no improvements. There are no permits to improve. And our recommendation today is that you pass a resolution to abate the nuisance.
What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to abate.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property located at 1001 Spruce Street in District 5, State of Alabama, and the right of redemption of Johnny L. Williams or his heirs, if deceased being the last known owners. Is there anyone to speak in opposition?
Madam President, based on recent improvements to this property, there is a permit as well. We're asking this case to be tabled for 30 days. Thank you.
All right. What is the pleasure of the council?
Move that we table the resolution for 30 days.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to table the resolution for 30 days, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to table for 30 days.
Our next public hearing is a resolution on abatement of nuisance on property located at 502 North 33rd Street in District 6. And this is Kenneth Michael Naylor and Deborah June Boland being the last known owners. Is there anyone to speak in opposition to this resolution? Is there anyone to speak in favor?
Madam President, this case involves an abandoned vehicle, trash and debris in the rear yard. We've actually had 5 separate cases in the past 4 years at this location. There have been no improvements. We've been to court, been unsuccessful. We're asking today for a resolution to abate the nuisance. Thank you.
What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to abate.
Second.
You might see that.
Can I ask Mr. Harbison something?
Yes.
Haven't we been through the same address before? Hadn't you brought it before the council before? The same address over the same situation?
I don't think so. I know we've been to court, but I'd have to check the record. I don't think
This
we've
is
been
not
to
the
the
house set
council.
next to the trailer?
No.
Okay.
Okay. We vote. We vote.
We haven't voted.
Okay.
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution on abatement of nuisance on property located at 3203 West Meagan Boulevard in District 6. This is Jamie Ellis, Jacob Blackwood, and Jack Collins being the last known owners. Is there anyone to like to speak in opposition to this resolution? If you give your name and address, please.
My name is Jacob Blackwood, 4401 Horton Gap Road, Boaz, Alabama. I'm asking today for some more time to deal with this issue. It was involved in an accident on June 7th, 2018, and my sister and I are planning to demolish the property. We're dealing with our insurance company right now, and it's been a longer process than we anticipated. I also have a police report here if anyone is interested in looking at that.
Mr. let me get my thoughts here together. Blackwood,
Yes.
are the people in this rec report, are their last name's Ellis, are they any kin to you?
They are.
Okay, so they was actually the ones that was involved in an accident.
Yes, it was my nephew that was involved in the accident, and we just happened to own the property. A tow truck crashed into the property.
Okay. What is, oh. All right, I'm ready to vote already. Is there anyone to speak in favor?
Madam President, we filed our case in September of last year. There have been no improvements. There are no permits to improve, and we're asking today for a resolution to abate this nuisance.
Mr. Blackwood, can I ask you a question? If you plan to tear the home down, what's your opposition to this abatement? I mean, that's what the city's gonna do.
That's, we're also, well, we're just trying to deal with the insurance so that we can have it done. And my sister is interested in doing rebuilding.
Okay, thank you.
What is the pleasure?
Before I make my decision, this, Mr. Ellis, Mr. Blackwood, I come by this house every day, and you can agree with me that the house was hit in the middle, it's knocked off the foundation, and the whole middle of it's already caved in, it's off of the foundation, correct now? Would you agree with me? Did you take anything out of the house since the accident?
We have not.
Okay, since that,
I was afraid to go into the building.
okay. That brings me back to the next issue. There was 2 air conditioners in the windows, and both of those are gone. Somebody has taken the air conditioners out. Would you agree to that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, would you not agree that the way it sits right now, that is a nuisance and a hazard and an accident waiting to happen for some little child that went close to that building or in that building?
Yes, sir, I do agree.
Okay, what I'm gonna do is go ahead and abate this a nuisance today, and you're welcome to get your attorney to keep us from coming on the property, acting on it yourself. You can do that, but in good conscience. There's all kind of little kids around there, plays around there, comes down Michigan Boulevard. This is on Michigan. We've got homeless people. They might be living in there. And any day, that house could collapse and hurt or kill someone. Would you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'd make a motion that we move to adopt this, please.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our final public hearing is a resolution approving issuance of an alcoholic beverage license. Timothy Ragland and Quinita McCraney, Rag Sports Grill, has applied for a restaurant retail liquor license at 823 Tuscaloosa Avenue in District 3. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor? The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Aye.
Okay, we have 2 noes. Is that correct? I think I heard 2. Motion carries to adopt with 2 noes.
We have a partner in crime. Is there any new business? Department reports. We have Mr. Chad Hare from the Water Department. He's going to talk about the treatment facility.
I have got Miss Iva passing around just a little bit of information about the past PFC issue, just for your reference while I speak. And I want to first off say thank you for the opportunity. Had an opportunity to be here for about 6 years as city engineer, and the fact that y'all got to know me and invited me back is a privilege. So I thank you all for your support to the Waterworks and Sewer Board. And we've had a couple of years. It's been pretty difficult. The last time I was here speaking, I knew it had been a while. I want to say it was about 2 years ago when I was bringing up the issue of perfluorinated chemicals that was starting to hit the news about being in our drinking water, and the kind of national attention it got, and as well as locally and on our state level. At that time, I told you I'd come back and give you an update if we were back under a public health advisory, and that's not what I'm doing today. But I would also keep you abreast about what we're doing, and I've tried to do that through the administration. I appreciate the mayor and his staff for all their support in these last couple of years. But a couple of weeks, or last week actually, we had 2 really good articles that were written in the Gadsden Times and also one by AL.com, just really announcing the completion of our granular activated carbon system. And that preceded this a little bit, not on purpose. President Tolles had invited me to come about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and our schedules kind of got conflicted. So I want to thank the Gadsden Times for the information they gave. This is okay, though, to come afterwards, because as we're finding out, good news don't spread quite as fast as bad news. So I wanted to come and actually reiterate what we were able to accomplish in the last couple of years, brag on my staff a little bit, and also, again, give my appreciation to the citizens for their patience. Just to give a brief background, and I'm not going to take up too much time, just give a brief background. In May of 2016, when we got hit with I said blindsided in the article, and that was basically the way that we felt. The EPA lowered a limit on perfluorinated chemicals and how much can be, the concentrations that can be in the drinking water, by about 90%. We had done about 4 samples leading up to that, what's called an unregulated or monitoring rule, where we look at unregulated contaminants, and we found that our highest level at that time was about 90 parts per trillion. The limits at that time was about 600. And so when we were put on this list and they lowered it to 70 parts per trillion, as you can imagine, it took us by surprise. What was even a worse thing for us is that conventional treatment does not remove these chemicals from the drinking water. So our board, as well as our staff, had a decision to make of whether to just let the thing rot out and see if a regulation was ever put in place, or to move on a new treatment facility. And what we did, what I feel like was proactive. I have to thank our board for that. It was done unanimously, but we did not wait and see what the government was going to do, but we proactively decided to install this system. We have been continuously working since May of 2016, whether that was through monitoring or through research, through testing. That first year, I feel like, was a lot of information gathering. And then we started design in June of 2017, and the thing was put online in December of 2018, which I stated this in the article, which I think is a tremendous accomplishment for a project of that size to be designed and implemented within about a year and a half, really, after the research was done. The great news, okay, that I'm here to report today is that we are seeing numbers now, our average after about 14 tests have been right around 28 parts per trillion. So at the Gadsden Water Works, it's the way that we've done with other contaminants and other things that we're tested for. We don't just want to meet the standard, we want to beat it, and we want it to be of the highest quality in the state. Having said that, we are going to continue to monitor this. There's a lot of federal movement on these chemicals. I think that they're still doing a lot of data gathering themselves. There are some states that have lowered the levels a lot lower than the federal health advisory. So it's not something that we're just going to implement and move on from. We're still going to look at it. But what I want the public to understand is that, and to get confidence in their product, is that when we are going to face a challenge like this, hopefully they can look at this and have confidence that we're going to respond. There's been a lot of rumors. There's been a lot of things on Facebook. And just because we're being quiet, please understand that we're going to give facts. We're not going to dive into whether we use these chemicals for treatment, which is not true. Whether there was a chemical spill on the Coosa, that's not true. But we're not going to go out and just, we'd be doing it all day, combating rumors. But when we say something, we want it to mean something. And so, having said that, every bit of the information that we take on a weekly basis is on our website. I want to be sure to say that it's on www.gadsdenwater.org. You can go to the environmental reporting page, and every single test that we've ever done is sitting there on that page. So we want to be very transparent, because drinking water is a very sensitive subject, as we already knew. But in these last 2.5 years, we've seen that even more, and that's fine. We want to be held accountable to the citizens. We take pride in what we do. We have a lot of good folks at the staff on staff, and so with saying that, I want to answer any questions that you may have, and I can report on anything else.
Well, Mr. Hare, the people, the general public, they don't care about the P and the H and the A. They just want to know, is our drinking water safe?
Right. And so, look, even with that question, if you think about that question, it seems like a pretty easy question, right? And it can be very complicated, because what we do is we meet regulations. We meet water standards, okay, or we beat them. And every federal and state regulation that is put on us, we have beat for years, okay? And that's in your consumer confidence report, which we'll be bringing out in the next, couple of months. We'll be coming back out. And so we have, not a deflection. It can come across as a deflection, but we're not doing that. But if anybody has questions about the PFCs, and you're right, there's a lot of, the reason why we deal in acronyms, they're hard to say. But we will direct you to the Alabama Department of Public Health, and your taxpayer money pays their salaries as well. And there's some smart doctors that can answer those questions for you.
Chad, I was going to ask you that. I know it's good to know that the reporting is on the website, but as you mentioned, those things can be really cumbersome to navigate to the layperson. This consumer confidence report, you guys, does that go out annually?
Yes, sir.
Is that a little more of a layman's terms definition of where we stand with water quality? And does that go out in your water bill or as a separate mailer?
It's a separate mailer. It can also be found on the website as well. I wouldn't say our website's cumbersome.
Yeah.
If you've been to it, it's pretty basic.
Sure.
And so it's basically a couple of clicks and you'll be there, maybe one click. But having said that, you have the option of getting it by mail and having it mailed to you in your bill, or you can opt to just have it on the website.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Great.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else?
What I would, Chad, thank you. For,
Yes, sir.
For the work you guys have done. Obviously thank you for the work you've done. Having the standard, the cheese moved on you the way it was, couldn't have been easy. So we do appreciate you guys responding to that and getting to 28 PPTs against a standard of 70. That's significant, and I hope, people caught that and didn't miss it. I understand that the litigation is still making its way through the courts, so we do appreciate you also taking the legal action, you and the board, of course, taking the legal action to hold the carpet manufacturers accountable as well. So,
Thank you for bringing that up. I actually forgot to bring that up. The other part of this is that it does, everything that we do costs money, right? And so in an effort to put this on the people who are putting this in the water, we did file a lawsuit in September of 2016. And that, if you're familiar with the court system, is moving along at a snail's pace, but that's to be expected. Having said that, we don't feel like our customers should have to pay for it. Having said that, we did feel like that the treatment was necessary, like I said before. We're not going to go out and just spend money frivolously, but we are very conscientious, but felt like that the citizens deserve to have water that was safely below this level. So, but yes, sir, we are moving forward with that, and I think that'll be in the news as well, but I'll definitely update the council as we move forward with that.
okay, all right, thanks.
Yes, sir.
I want to say thank you for what you do, but on Councilwoman President Toll's question was, is the water safe? And you said a whole lot of stuff, but
Yes,
I
sir.
want to hear it in layman's term, yes or no.
We meet or beat every sample or every standard that we have. Yes, sir. So it's 70 parts per trillion. We are at about 28. And we test that on a weekly basis. That's not something that we're doing quarterly or monthly or anything right now. I think we could spread out our testing over time, but right now we are doing that at a weekly basis. So yes, sir, everything that we are producing is what I would consider safe to drink, absolutely.
Because if you didn't say that, then I'm going to get 100 calls.
No, I understand. And look, understand my hesitation with that is that the way that this hit before, one day I was saying that, and the next day they were saying they changed the standard. And so everybody thought there was something different going on in the water. There was nothing different. And so that's my hesitation.
Okay.
But again, I said this back when it came out. I wasn't afraid to drink the water, but we are very confident with the quality of our water. Yes, sir.
Thank you for all
You and
do.
I had a conversation, and I think one time I checked the information on the water, but a lot of people won't believe it, but our water is better than the water that we buy in the store. No, you don't believe it, but it is.
Well, Chad doesn't get to set the standard for what's safe to drink, and that's why you kind of see him saying, not being willing to say that, because he doesn't set the standard for what's safe to drink. He just abides by the standard that's set by a regulatory group. So
That's right.
if you have a question about whether it's safe to drink, that question is better posed to that regulatory group.
That's exactly right. And if they change the standard, that's when we respond, just like we did this time. Yes, sir.
You did good.
Nah, thank you.
Yeah, I want to commend Chad. I'll tell you what, I was there the whole time, and I watched the man under pressure, him and his staff, fighting the public, fighting the federal government, fighting the state, everybody. Everything was down, and with their foresight, they brought forth this unit. And I'm going to tell you something now. I've never stopped drinking the water. I'm not a good recommender, probably. But the water is now better than anybody in the state of Alabama, I guarantee you. If you don't believe that, just go to the websites and look. But I want to thank you. And you know what I'm talking about,
Yes,
the
sir.
pressure you're under. Unbelievable. So I think we're back. We're in good shape, and we're in flame good hands with him and our staff, I'm going to tell you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
City Clerk.
Madam President, I have a couple of reminders about our election. It's going to be next Tuesday, April the 9th, And the deadline to apply for an absentee ballot is this Thursday of this week at 5 p.m. Our office will stay open until 5. For anyone who's mailing their ballot, their application, we're already in danger of the Postal Service not being quite quick enough. If you're able to come to the city clerk's office, you can come in person, fill out the application, and fill out your ballot all in the same trip. For those that are not able to get here, please make haste if you're going to apply. We also have our application available on the city's website. If you would like to obtain it that way, that will make it a little quicker in getting it to us. And the voting locations, I wanted to go over those as well. Antioch Family Life Center, Starnes Park Community Building, East Gadsden Community Center, Thompson Community Center. We're only voting one box at Thompson Community Center this time. We've typically voted Districts 2 and 3. We are using Thompson for District 2 this time. Wallace Hall, and we're in room 144 at that location. Meadowbrook, their Family Life Center, Downtown Civic Center, the Tabernacle Gym, Elliott Community Center, Walnut Park Community Center, and the Kiwanis Pavilion. The reason we're not voting in District 3 boxes, we only had one candidate to qualify for that particular district, so it was not necessary to put their name on the ballot and conduct an election in those locations. The ones that we're not using at all on April the 9th will be the Old Gadsden High School Lunchroom and Carver Community Center. We'll conduct the public test of the electronic vote counters at 4 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, and that will be done at the Sheriff Department Training Center, and that location is 145 Thomas Drive. If you know where the factory is located, right on Highway 77, the sheriff's facility is behind that. Thank you.
All right, remarks, Mayor, Council Mayor, Councilman Williams.
The only thing I'll say today is I want to encourage everyone to go out and vote in the school board election. And as I understand it, for those who have been, there will be, as I understand it, a story run at some point between now and then to remind people that there is an election. So I want to thank Mike in advance for that. But there's no excuses. So I really don't care to hear from those folks who complain that they didn't know or weren't aware. Go vote. And it's next Tuesday, August 9th, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
April 9th.
I'm sorry, April 9th. Did I say August? April 9th. From April 9th, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Go vote.
Councilman Worthy.
Yes. Reiterate what he just said. Yes, please go out and vote. This is very important. Our school system is very important to this city. So please, April the 9th, like he said, 7 A, 7 P. And District 3, you won't have to worry about going out to vote. Because like Ms. Nelson just said, it was only one candidate that qualified, and that's Mr. Huff. I'd like to say congratulations to him. And I also want to announce our community meeting. Jeffrey Washington, the Commissioner Washington, and myself will hold a community meeting together at Carver Community Center on April the 16th, which is not this coming Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, from 6 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. So we're asking you to come out to the meeting. And the name of the meeting is Coming Together to Move Our Community. Coming Together to Move Our Community. And I would like to say War Eagle. Thank you.
Councilman Back.
Boy, I'd like to echo that War Eagle. That's my alma mater, and I can't wait for Saturday at 5 o'clock. So that's going to be a big day for me. I've lived long enough to see Auburn make it to the Final Four, so that's pretty exciting. I want to thank our guests today. Child Advocacy Center and the Family Success Center. Thank y'all for what y'all do. I think sometimes, I think we know what you do, so to speak, but I think it goes unnoticed. Y'all are in the trenches every hour, every day. I don't imagine you close on Fridays at 5 and come back Monday at 8. So thank you for what you do for, not only for Gadsden and Etowah County, but as the Bible says, for the least of these. You know, somebody has to be there for those kids, and thank y'all for what you're doing in collaboration with all the local law enforcement. Also want to remind everybody, y'all, it's springtime. I know it doesn't feel like it some mornings, but there's a lot of great things going on in Gadsden. Every time I drive past Marana Park, I'm worried that we're going to have to build a triple-decker parking deck. That place is just crawling with kids and with people, and people throwing Frisbee and football and in the green space. So thank you to our vision from our leadership in Gadsden a year or so ago, and our engineer, and how it's all been drawn out, and it's just a fabulous place. Knockaloo Falls is gearing up. There's a lot of great things happening up there. You know, there's trails to walk and run, and there's playground equipment up there. My goodness, there's just so many good things going on in Gadsden. This Friday's First Friday. You know, there'll be, I don't know, 10, 15,000 people walking around Broad Street on Gadsden this Friday night. So there are some really good things to do in Gadsden that don't necessarily cost any money. We have a wonderful city. I encourage everybody to step out and to find something good to do in your neighborhood or in your city, because this is a great place to live. You know, we all get to travel a little bit and go to places. I always can't wait to come home. I can't wait to come back to Gadsden. So I hope you can feel that way as well. And just thank everybody for all you do. Thank you.
I'm going to help Councilman Wilson out. Go Bulldogs and roll Tide.
Well,
Councilman Wilson, before you go, I just did want to take the opportunity to remind everybody that this Friday is First Friday. I didn't see Kay here today to talk to us, but just as a reminder, this Friday will be First Friday for April, and it'll be the first Friday in the series that lasts through October, is it? Yeah, that's right. It never really stops, but this will be the first big one for the year.
All right. Councilman Wilson?
As an Auburn graduate, I will take the opportunity to say in my official capacity that District 5 are Auburn fans. War Eagle on behalf of District 5. The first time I'd like to add that any college basketball team in the state of Alabama has made it to the Final Four. So not just Auburn, but Alabama too. Never done it. Also, I'll speak to Mr. Hare and the Waterworks Department. Obviously, as a small business owner who packages and distributes beverages throughout 7 states, I hope that the Waterworks and Sewer Board takes great pride in the fact that our water is not just consumed here in Gadsden, but it's consumed throughout the southeast United States, because my product consists of 94% of what they put out over there. And I'm very proud to say that we have no additional filtration requirements or anything in our business, and we put out, again, over 2.5 million bottles of our product each year, and that is all due to the wonderful water we get from the Gadsden Waterworks Sewer Board. So thank you guys for that. I also want to commend the Berry Center and the Family Success Center. Obviously, I've been involved with the Family Success Center on a charitable level for a long time, but I actually have an instance in my extended family where some of my extended family members had to go through that process. So I don't think it's that far removed from anybody in this community, and what you guys do is very, very special. I guess there's no more jabs I can make about Alabama, so I'll finish up. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Cannon?
I just want to remind everybody, April 9th, to go out and vote. That's all I have.
All right. Councilman Councilman
Hey,
Reed?
I thought I was gonna get 10 minutes, to kind of get my wits together. Hey, everybody said it about the child act and Berry Center. My gosh, I've been here a lot of years. How in the world y'all do it, I don't know. These figures are astounding, and I wish it was put in the paper or something. I don't know any other answer except knock somebody in the head, which I That's why I couldn't be there, but thank y'all. Tammy, Patricia and Betty, very, very much. As a fact of April 9th, I won't be here to vote, so can I do an absentee ballot? Absolutely. And they're paving Scenic Drive. After 19 years, 4 months, 3 days, and 6 hours. It's being paved. Thank you, Steve Ballard, for pushing me on that one. That's all I have.
I'd just like to first say, I guess that's why he's so quiet. Tomorrow is Councilman Cannon's birthday.
He's holding back.
Holding back.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's a big one. He's the big 6-0.
Well,
Still look 45, though, correct?
With some touch-up.
Yeah.
I would just like to say, last term, I had asked, I believe, Mayor Eric to do applications online for those persons that were interested in being on any boards. And I would just like to say that there's been a couple of people who have looked online and applied, and I think they've been appointed to a board. So I'm saying that if you're interested in serving on a board, not saying that you will be appointed, but I'm saying make applications so we'll know what your interest is, and then that way we don't have to look that far. We can always just look at the applications to make sure that you're interested. The second thing is, one of the things that we're doing this year and this term is having committee meetings. Some begin at 8:30, some begin at 9. But this is also for the citizens of Gadsden, in that if you have a concern, public works, public safety, community development, then you can come to those meetings and just, have this be your opportunity to state your concerns, even ideas. We're not a policy-making committee. We're not an administrative type of committee, but we're just a committee that will listen to your concerns. We discuss different things in the committee, but this will give you an opportunity to speak, and you don't have to call the clerk and get on the agenda. So I just want that to be known, that the citizens have that opportunity to come and express their desires and their ideas and their suggestions at the committee meetings. District 1 will have a district meeting April the 29th, 6 p.m. at the Antioch Family Life Center. I also want to remind everybody that those who contribute and pay their water bill, you also contribute to Gadsden City Schools by helping to buy computers. And right now they have a nice little sum of money, and we're suggesting that the school system, take advantage of that so that they can have computers in the classroom or Chromebooks in the classroom for the students. So we'd like to, again, thank you all, Family Success Center, Berry Center. Thank you all again for what you do. As a former educator and still an educator, I've never seen in these later years so much crime against children. And people don't really realize the crime and the things that happen to children, some that's not even reported. And that's a big percentage, but we say that our children are our future, but how do people harm them? But they do. So we really want to thank you, and we'll continue to help to get the word out for people to report and for the children to talk, Maybe we can help solve that problem in one way or another. If nothing else.
One more announcement. I forgot to make this announcement here. The Etowah County Community Job Fair. They will be having a job fair on May the 2nd, 2019, from 8 a.m. to noon at the venue, Coosa Landing. The second chance applicants, high school students, veterans are welcome. This being put on by the Chamber of Commerce, Etowah County Chamber of Commerce, the Career Center, Gadsden State, partnering Etowah County Commission, the City of Gadsden, and East Alabama Works. So that's again on May the 2nd, 2019, from 8 to noon at the venue. Thank you.
and the lady left, but I want to reiterate something that Councilman Worthy says all the time. And this is in support of the nuisance and abatement and the building department. When the nuisance come up here, it's because people in the neighborhood are complaining because they are tired of looking at the blight and all the nastiness that they see next door to them. So we're not just abating houses, and, I know that people come up here with all kind of excuses, and sometimes we pacify them by giving them 30 days, 7 days, some even want 45 days for it to come back up here, and we're gonna tear the house down anyway. So I just want people to know that the city of Gadsden just wants you to keep your neighborhood up, and if you don't want your house, tear it down. If not, we'll help you and tear it down.
Oh, one more, somebody just sent me another announcement. Sorry. This the community, Carver Community Revitalization, Children's Place is hosting a job fair at, Central Carver Museum this Friday at 5:30 p.m.
Tell all those who want to work to come. If there's nothing else, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second.